What's going on, everybody? I believe I should be up and running here. With any luck, anyway. Trying to make sure I've got the last of the settings sorted out real quick. But I believe we are good. So, picking up pretty much right where we left off with our absurd playthrough. Zexel in the chat said, let's go. Junior Galacto says, am I on DirectX 11? Yes. That is what is recommended for NVIDIA last I checked, which is what I've got, so. As of right now, DirectX 11. Okay, so loading up our playthrough here before we dive in. We left off, we had just gotten to Act 2 and hit level 7, I believe. Main output says best RPG creator on YouTube, hands down. That's nice of you. I appreciate it. Oh, Josh Shiv says back at it again. Hope your day is going well. So far, it's going well. Junior Galacto's reporting some, well, mentioning that there have been reports of some crashing with the latest hotfix, but we'll see if we run into anything. Orderman says hello. What's going on? Robert says, never knew you did streaming, so cool, love your content. I appreciate it, that's kind of you. We don't do a lot of streaming by any means, but to catch everybody up to what we got going on here, 1 level in every class, so we can get the Jack of all trades achievement. That said, there is an easier way to do this that has been confirmed, but that's less fun than streaming it for everyone, so as of right now, these are the levels we've got, and we just need to get on with Act 2, really. So, into the Shadow Cursed lands we go.
Time to press ahead.
No day.
And while we don't have a torch or anything, we do have the Blood of Lathander item, which provides a holy light around you, which can protect you from the early parts of the curse, to at least get you moving.
The astral plane is threaded with light and silver, life-giving and wondrous in all directions. Nothing like this.
Next says an absolute content savage got me into Pathfinder. I appreciate it. That's kind of you to say. Let me know if there's any problems with the sound, because I noticed I don't have any sound.
Barely think straight.
Alright, well, I'll grab Shadow Heart. Sometimes the Shadow Curse can cause you problems if you're not actually controlling the character with the light.
But they don't seem to be harming me.
Brandon asks, how many playthroughs is this now? This one is technically the 4th. I've got 3 completely completed, and I've got 1 that I literally just started today that I haven't gotten very far in, mind you. David P says, does your 100% entail things like Shadowheart killing at Lae'zel? Yeah, I mean, most of that's... So, the thing about characters dying off is that that doesn't actually change as much as people tend to think it does. It just means that character's not there moving forward. But, yeah, generally that would catch things like that. But almost in every instance, characters just being dead is substantially less interesting than you might imagine across pretty much every game. Okay, hold on, let's talk to Shadowheart so she gets that exclamation point away.
All these telltale signs of Dark Justicius that we've been seeing. I'm having a hard time believing they're a coincidence. Still.
Do I think the evil path is as fun as the good path? I do, actually. It is very good. Yeah, so...
that light.
Before you get the blessing that protects everybody, it really pays to control the person with the light, because otherwise you constantly get thrown into turn-based because of the curse. Alright, we got a fight coming up here, which is kind of one of our introductions to the area.
The Shadow's hunger is endless, it seems.
Hold on, guys. I've got to adjust the sound a little bit. My sound isn't working at all, but the last time I played it reset a bunch of my settings, so they were a little off. Give me just a second. Okay, there we go. I think I should be okay, but if it's still a little loud for anybody, let me know. XX says, OMG, it's the goat. That's kind of you. Alright, so... there's a fight right here that is kind of annoying. I don't know how it's going to go, but we shall see.
Stop! Who's there? You follow my voice.
Alright, so this is the Harpers being attacked by the Shadows. Semi-auto magic says, how close are you to 100% of the game so far? I mean, achievement-wise, this is literally all I've got left is the one we're doing right now. Playthrough-wise, I still have a lot to go. Joshua says, hey, what kind of features, quality of life do you want to see in the next few patches? There's a variety of things, mostly around the camp. I think switching party members could be a little easier. Accessing party members' inventories in camp would be helpful. Just a lot of stuff like that, really. Oh, okay, so we've got the Shadows. These guys can be annoying because if they get too far away from you, they'll just blend into the shadows and you won't be able to see them. But Shadowheart here should be pretty well set up to destroy them because she's got Divine Smite. Eric says, really like the Druid build. Glad to hear it. I had a lot of fun playing around with it for the most part. I think the first few levels are a little slow for my liking, but otherwise it was a lot of fun.
Jonas, no! What are you doing?
Alright, so our guy here. Bonus attack should finish that one off. So I don't know how Act 2 is going to go with this particular build, because that's where things start ramping up a little bit. So with these classes all over the place, I'm just kind of curious how it's going to wind up. It'll be a learning experience for everyone, I suppose. Jawa says, or do I still consider Wrath of the Righteous my favorite game? I haven't decided just yet. I think this one definitely has that potential. I've mentioned this a few times here and there, but once I'm done, like, actually playing through all of it, I'll probably make a video kind of talking about it, that kind of thing. Siren says, what's the funniest bug I've seen? I really personally haven't encountered much besides, like, frame rate issues, but the funniest one I've seen that didn't happen to me was there's a bug where NPCs will kind of look your direction sometimes, and some of them will like break their animations and like turn themselves into an L shape to look at you, which is really funny. All right, should pretty much be it for Lae'zel. David Freeman says, have I seen the BG3 10-minute speedrun? Yes, I have. The funny thing is, when I first heard about the speedrun, I was like, that's probably possible if you do one particular ending, and when I looked at it, that was, in fact, the ending that they did, so that was kind of funny. Alright, so Gale. Honestly, we'll probably just have him Fireball. They really don't want to waste a bunch of spells here yet, to be honest.
Finish them off!
Peter asked, what choice did I have the hardest time making in my playthroughs? For me, it was whether or not to help out Will and his dad. I don't want to spoil it too much because there's like more going on there. We're not really to that part in the stream yet, so I don't want to say too much. But that was a rough choice to see play out. Probably could have gone for level 1 smite there. That was overkill. But we've almost got this. Eric says, which act have did I like playing the most? Act 1 for sure. You can just tell it's a little more polished than the rest of them. The Unbelievable Beaver says, just starting Act 2. Yeah, we got right to Act 2 last time we were playing. Alright, so we got one shadow right there, and then the other one is hiding in these shadows somewhere. I didn't see where it went, but... there's that one. We'll have to see what... oh, okay. Yes, if there's no nearby light, they blend into the shadows. Which is kind of annoying. There's that
Well
fight.
done. Keep your torch high.
Alright, and then Harper Lysandra there, or whoever happens to have survived the fight, will
My face protects me.
lead you to Last Light Inn,
Onward then.
which is one of the sort of hub areas in this place. Blue says, do I stream on Twitch? No, I don't. Okay, so just grabbing some loot here before we head that way.
Jonas should be hearing us.
Time to rest. Come on, open up.
We're gonna head to the inn pretty much straight away, though. I would like to grab the general protection that doesn't require us to be in control of Shadowheart the entire time.
Well, in it.
What's
So
next?
speaking of Shadowheart, before I forget,
Can't give up now.
TJ says, howdy gamer, how's it going? Oh, good grief. This is why I like to get the blessing as quickly as possible, because I constantly
faith
forget
will
to
guide
switch
me.
to the person with the land or the light in general.
Have to keep pushing.
Dan says, any tips for running an evil character? My cleric build video that I posted is what I used for an evil character, and it worked really, really well. But beyond that, it would mostly just be real general stuff, like take the evil option.
That dead bird's been corrupted by the
Okay,
shadows.
so this is
Would be
an
wise
interesting
to leave
encounter,
alone.
what we're going to have as soon as we interact with that raven. It should be super easy, because you get swarmed pretty much immediately, but... get everybody over here. This is easy XP for the most part, because we get swarmed by all these ravens, but they all only have 1 health. And because we have that Lathander mace, they get blinded rather, from getting close to us. Danielle says, does every member of the party need to be one of every class or just the main character? Technically, it doesn't have to be the main character at all. It's actually pretty easy to get this. If you just like don't level up a companion or get a hireling in the last act, you could do it right there. Like if literally all you care about is getting the achievement. That's pretty easy to do, but for the sake of this run, we're doing it specifically the hard way, which is going through the entire game that way as the main character, but technically it could be anyone as long as you do it. Okay, so...
What's the plan?
Gale got a pretty bad initiative roll there, but... we hit Gale. He deserves it.
Victory awaits.
Gale had gotten a better initiative roll there, we could have just fireballed and killed all of them in one go, but not like it's a big deal. Orderman says, wait, no need to be the main character. Yeah, so I actually wasn't sure about it when we started this run, but over the weekend there was some confirmations that I was able to find and kind of sort through. So you can do this with a companion or a hireling in the last act, like once you get to level 12 and they level up with you. As long as you haven't leveled them up to that point or don't respec them, you should get it. However, that's no fun, so we're going to continue doing it the hard way. Alright, so gotta heal up real quick. Oh crap, drank that on the wrong person.
At the ready. Still alive. So that's progress.
Alright, that's a nice chunk of experience you don't have to do much for. Heartstar says hi and have a nice stream. Thank you, I appreciate it.
This place is
Abu Jonte
protected.
says, what would I say the
Must be the
biggest differences
refuge
from
the hub
Pathfinder's
is spoke
1E
of.
to the D&D 5e system are? I mean, there's way too much to go over, but 1E is a lot more math heavy, whereas 5th edition tries to simplify a lot of that with advantage and
Step
disadvantage.
forward. Easy. Come, Jahira.
Alright, so this is where we meet Jahira. This can play out a couple of different ways depending on the ways you got here, but in our case, we helped the tieflings out, so Maul here will come vouch for us.
What in the hells is that? Tell me. Why have...
Though I will say,
Breathe deep.
the way they introduce Jahira really, like if you're trying not to, like you're just kind of reacting to how people are reacting to you, she makes a terrible first impression. It's very easy to justify killing her.
I only hope I brought enough to see us through.
Gog Ryan says, have a nice stream. I'll watch it while I'm having dinner. I appreciate it. That's kind of you. Ian Werner says, what classes have I done so far for this, or do I have so far for this playthrough? I will show them again in just a moment. But, oh yeah, it's right at the top here. Kind of breaking the UI, but Fighter, Rogue, Warlock, Ranger, Cleric, Bard, and Barbarian. Alright, so we can get rid of all of this junk we haven't been using. Alt Player 09 says, how many times have I beaten this game? Like, I've done 3 complete playthroughs, and then I've also save scummed to see like a bunch of different endings at the same time, but like technically 3 full playthroughs, I guess, is probably the correct answer there. CJ says, what are my thoughts on save scumming? If the game allows you to do it and it's clearly built into the mechanics, who cares? Like, do you guys know you can like save in the middle of a conversation? You can save in the middle of a cinematic. The game does not restrict saving in any capacity, so clearly they had it in mind, so I just don't see what the big deal is. Okay, so what we're looking at. I really like that scale mail. That's a really cool medium armor you can get right at the start of Act 2 here, but I don't think we need much from this vendor, but the other one here is pretty good. We will grab our Cloak of Protection, though.
Take care now.
Alright, now before we go see Jahira, who will give us our next task, we can wander around a little bit. There's a fair bit to see here in the Last Light Inn. Including the strange ox there. It's actually really cool to, if you interact with this ox, there's a lot going on there, but
Look in its eye.
it's best if you leave it alone to like Act 3, because if it makes it all the way to Baldur's Gate, there's some more
And
interesting stuff going on
if you
with it.
find any interesting materials in need of working,
Alright, now we can
I'm
buy
happy to help.
some better heavy armor. There's another one we can find upstairs as well that we'll probably grab for Lae'zel. if it's better or not. Yeah, I think we're just about good on everything else. Because she's got... Yeah, pretty much everybody's great, really. The party setup we're using here has a really great early game weapon selection, so we don't really have to
I'll
do
be here
much
if
there.
you need anything else.
K-Bar says, sweet stream time. Indeed it is.
Assume nothing.
Blazel's got the
No
good
one
stuff.
back home will ever believe this. Light on
Nova Trap says, do traders always sell the same gear? Yeah, for the most part. I'm not sure if there's any variants to like the regular stuff, but they pretty much always have the same magic items, that kind of thing.
Bet I can crack that open.
MB says, what is this build? A hot mess. One level in every class. Alright, and then you can also get this by coming up here. Which is pretty much just vendor trash for us, to be honest. We've already got better. We will send it to the camp just for now, though.
What am I going to do?
Django Fett says Underdark or Mountain Pass. The correct answer is both. Because you can do both. Alright, then you can find some of the Tiefling refugees. The ones that made it to the Last Light Inn anyways. Alright, so the inn itself has a bunch of conversations to be had, which is the bulk of what there is to do here.
intend to find one. What I won't do is send any more of them.
Just kind of getting the map explored a little bit.
Just about.
Alright, and now
Just about.
we'll go ahead and go in and
Hang
talk
around
to
too long,
Jaheira. But first, of course, grab everything we can.
Don't wander far.
Last Light's best
We need to talk.
bargains, right here.
We can talk to all of the tieflings that made it, like Alfira.
You're all right. Thank goodness. Wait, they took his eyes first. He said he stayed in the grove because... How do you do it? If they're not dead, they're in... Thank you. Just...
And they can set you on the trail of the tieflings that got captured in an ambush, which Roland here is pretty upset about as
Jaheira
well.
didn't- If you hadn't filled their heads, you...
Nova Trap says Blood of Lathander is probably the best mace in the game. Yeah, in my opinion, it is. I think there's one or two in the late game that could be arguably better in certain cases, but generally speaking, I think it definitely is. Okay, so Raphael's having a chess game with Mole here.
More.
Sec.
Always laid a fine trap for you. What? The
Not really much we can
suggestion was inspired. But
do here besides.
my friend. What? Tell me, oh apple of my eye. See
And you can tell Mole that, you know, that's the devil, so, you know,
Nice
don't
strategy
trust
we
the
put
guy,
up.
but
Look, Raphael's offered me a partnership
the most-
already, and it seems like a sweeter deal than throwing my lot in with you.
the funny thing about this is now that we've got so many classes starting to pop up, we're getting all these options, which is kind of funny.
So what if Raphael also bit rich for you to take? There aren't any other options.
Jin Zaba donated
soldier.
to the channel, said
Raphael
took some
said
notes
he
from your
could
inventory
keep
management
this
from
in
Hex
your
playthroughs.
business.
Finally, my inventory is
I'm
in a
not
cluttered mess.
poking my nose into
You're
whatever
welcome. I'm
trade
glad it helped
you
out.
made with him.
Alexander Jensen donated $5. Said, "Hey Mortem, love your channel. Could you tell us a bit more about myself and where I'm from?" I've talked about that a great deal in videos,
and also,
but
when we get there,
not much to know really.
Head of the Thieves Guild.
I love video games. I play them all the time. I used to do sales. I have a son. This is my full-time job these days. Sort of just pouring my heart out into the microphone here. I'd say that's pretty much the common stuff, but there's a few videos, especially the ones for the 100K and 200K milestone where I talked about just kind of some stuff that I've been through that might be more what you're looking for. Alright, that should just about handle the interesting conversations in here. And we can go talk to Jaheira.
Last night's best bargain, right here.
Wonderful.
Please. To your very good health.
Barbarians always got fun stuff going on, dialogue-wise. So Jaheira here, if you pass these checks, you can realize that she spiked the drink with like a truth-telling potion, more or less.
A blade in the ribs or arrow in the back. Some prefer poison.
You perceive. It doesn't spoil the taste if that's what you're. Answer me true and do not lie. The parasite is changing. If we're to survive, we track them to this ancient.
But ultimately, she just asked you to take out the absolute, which is generally what you would be doing if you came here on the good path anyway. So
together we. Until then, she's
not much to know. But she asks us to go infiltrate Moonrise Towers to see if we can't discover the source of Ketheric Thorm's immortality, so he can actually be stopped. Cool Breeze says, "Had no idea you streamed." Well, to be fair, I don't stream very often. This is pretty much a special occasion. This is the very last achievement I need, and we're doing it the hard way, so thought it would be fun to stream it for everybody. But yeah, I mean, realistically, I don't stream very often. Abu Janti joined as a member. That's very kind of you. Alright. So, this is Isabel. She's going to give us the blessing to walk around the shadow curse without having too much of an issue, but the problem there is that as soon as we talk to her, there is a fight. And ideally, we need her to not die.
Something's on my mind.
Roman says, "What platform are you playing on?" We are on PC.
The true soul who's
pretty much a given at the moment, as it doesn't launch or doesn't launch on PS5 until September 6th. I think the early access starts the 3rd, though.
And you mine. Not many comprehend the task of steadfast faith. Our Lady has granted me the ability to protect the... Speaking of...
Oh, Kabar says the hotfix gave her more health. That's nice. That was actually a pretty needed change. I hadn't read over the patch notes, but...
But that's good nose. Like a nasty little terror. While you're...
MB says, "Why not die?" I assume you're asking why
I've been blessed.
she doesn't want to die.
You can be too. Come with me. And true soul, my instructions are clear.
So the reason you don't want Isabel to die is because if you do, it drops the protection on Last Fight, which makes Act 2 much, much harder. Oh yeah, they did give her a little more health. She had like 30-ish, I think, before this. And you could get unlucky and she'd basically die before you got a turn, which was incredibly annoying. Hit with Shadowheart. That might just be game over for this guy. Yeah, pretty close. This fight is tough. One of the recent achievements I did called Leave No One Behind, you have to save all of the tiefling refugees as possible to save. And I had to reload this a couple times to make sure none of the tieflings died in this fight, which is annoying. Can you be a paladin of a certain deity? You have to take a level in cleric to make it happen, but technically yes. Paladins don't pick a deity on their own, but if you multi-class it into a cleric of a certain deity, it will count, and you'll get dialogue options as a paladin of that deity. Okay. First things first, let's grab Gale. And do what wizards do best, which is throw a fireball. Nice. This is I don't know if it's because I'm streaming, but this is the first time I've ever noticed that that guy's death scream is very over the top.
Well, so much for pace.
All right. That was a really good fireball on our part, so I think we've just about got this. Because they don't get another turn until Shadowheart's turn rolls around, and then I can heal Isabel, which she'll be okay. So we're pretty much good to go.
Take your.
Do I recommend taking a level or two in Cleric as a Paladin, or maybe better to take something else? So I have a build around Paladin and Cleric called the Terror of Tiamat, it's a really good combo. Will I be doing a build recap video of this build? Yeah, that's kind of the general plan. I think, provided this actually works out really well, then yeah, I'll likely do a guide covering it for anyone who would like to try the same thing instead of grabbing the achievement the easy way. Okay, so that leaves these two, and they are both below us.
Time to strike.
Moosey Moose says your Terror of Tiamat build is really fun, using it on my second playthrough. Yeah, I had a blast with it. It's very specific. Like, you're trying to do one very straightforward thing, but I don't know. I had a ton of fun with that. Awesome Monday says I'm liking the build reviews. Yeah, it's been fun making those videos. I will say that, like, doing a video for the build that I played through the game with, like, just I'll finish the game and then like immediately make that build video. It's been kind of a fun way to sort of recap what that playthrough was like combat wise.
Time to press ahead.
So it's been fun for me as well. What's better, Berserker or Fighter? I mean, that depends on who you ask, I suppose. But for me, I really prefer Fighter, honestly. I think the damage is just so incredibly reliable. You don't have to worry about like spell slots or rage charges, anything like that.
Still breathing, despite everything.
Alright, so the annoying thing about the back half of this fight is that it's actually difficult to get to these as two on the bottom here. But I think the NPCs should just about get this last one. Greg says, what video was the Terror of Tiamat build in? Terror of Tiamat's in the title. You can just search it on the channel. It's pretty straightforward. Alright. So, Spirit Weapon's not going to be able to do anything. Jabriel says, love your CRPGs videos. Are you looking forward to Rogue Trader? I am, very much so. I've pretty much covered it as much as I can cover it right now. Basically everything there is to know. Really all I'm waiting on there is a date for the release. I don't know if I can... Oh, it's just out of range, I think. Can I move a little bit forward? There we go. Nice.
There's a parasite in that corpse.
Alright, here I will
magic.
run up here to talk. There she is. Jim says Mort in the flesh.
Isabel,
that's what they tell me.
Are you all right? I'm fine. But we're in more danger than I... No,
Alright, this is where we find out that Isabel is actually Ketheric's daughter. Is multi-classing necessary for tactician mode? Can I make single classes work? Yeah, you can definitely make single classes work. I really, like, honestly, my tactician run, the only class I multi-classed or build I multi-classed was my own. The other 3 party members were just full classes. I think tactician mode really comes down to knowing what you're about to fight and setting up for it more so than it does like a hyper-focused build, anything like that. Okay. So there's that. And that got us our Blessing of Saloon, which will protect us from the Shadow Curse. Web Chef donated $20, said, would I consider doing a no-save playthrough? Is it even possible on Tactician? Catch your vids on the way to work every morning. Love your in-depth analysis. Cheers from Michigan. I appreciate it. That's very kind of you. I mean, technically, yeah. I mean, it depends on how you want to define the playthrough, because, I mean, you can speedrun it in, like, 10 minutes, apparently someone did. So, you don't really need to save for that. As for, like, a full run, I don't think it would be easy, because the game is so long. Short of just, like, leaving your computer running or something. Okay, so... we should pretty much be free to go explore the wild area before we move into the town portion of this map. As this map is kind of divided in two, there's like a river that runs down the middle here. And you've got like this wild, brambly nature area and then like a town over here.
I bet they're close. Watching us.
Do I think Larian will add in an Iron Man mode? Maybe.
A cultist convoy
that kind of thing isn't exactly what
I've readied an ambush. Say the word. Splendid. Harper's.
This particular kind of game is about, so I don't know if they'll bother, to be honest with you, but it's certainly possible, I suppose. Webchest says, full run, no save, only rerolls if offered. I mean, again, technically I think it's possible. I think the real issue you'd run in there is the length of the game more than anything else. Alright, this is the remains of the tieflings that got attacked. Unfortunately, you cannot save all of them. How long is Act 3 for 100%? I mean, it depends on exactly the route you take, but generally, my first time running through Act 3 was about 20 hours. It doesn't take as long as that now that I know where everything is. RB Skills says, I played through all of Act 2 and didn't realize I'd left the Underdark. They thought this was the Underdark. That's funny. To be fair, I can see how you might arrive at that conclusion if you're unfamiliar with D&D. Okay, so this fight coming up can be a little bit annoying because of the Drider. Specifically because it likes to cast Sanctuary, which prevents it from being hit with direct damage. You have to do like AoEs. But Solon says, is it possible to save all the tieflings from the grove? All of them? No. Some of them die no matter what you do. It is possible to save a great many of them, though.
Go. Yeah, web ass. Something moved up there. Didn't...
No! We will not go into the dark! Enough! Forgive me, my queen, but I had to. Before the dark got any...
Alright.
We need that
So, the big enemy here is the Strider. It can do some serious damage. And also, this is annoying. It'll cast Sanctuary on itself, which will keep you from hitting it. But luckily, we have a counter. And Sanctuary, like, it keeps you from targeting it directly. You can still hit it with area of effect spells, but it does make things much, much harder. Alright. And also, it's got a pretty high AC, naturally, well, compared to most things up to this point, so it can be a little hard to hit. What's the best caster? Might be source. So, I mean, that really just depends on what you prefer. That's a hotly debated subject, let's say, but personally, I think it's the wizard. Sorcerer is probably the most fun, though. Alright. Well, I was really hoping she was going to be able to actually reach someone, but so it is, I guess.
Come on, can't stay idle.
Nice critical. I don't know. I was gonna hex it, but I don't know what it's using for its attack rolls, which is ideally what I would have wanted to know. Alright. Pass the turn, let the Harpers do some work.
Shadow, nor death.
Guard against the darkness.
So picky about where you shoot the fireball from. Redfern says, hi, Mortismal. Glad to catch the live stream. Glad you could make it as well. Chris says, oh my god, he has a face and a body. Hi, everyone. Yeah, that's what they tell me. Sounds like a lie. Alright.
You will die here. The absolute...
That guy just killed himself with his own cloud of dagger. Like, why would you do that? I've never seen the AI try that, but that is an option, I guess. Oh, how do you could know who uses what for rolls? Generally, it's their highest stat. So, like, if something has a higher strength and dexterity, you know it's probably using strength. Take a beating there.
For a wizard in need.
Alright, so now, because he's got Sanctuary on, we can't hit him with anything directly. Very annoying. We're probably gonna have to rest after this one. Abujanti says there's tons of YouTube channels that cover gaming and fall into clickbait, focusing on drama. Appreciates that I don't do the same. I try not to. I mean, I can understand why people do it. I don't really make any judgment calls there. At the end of the day, especially if it's your job, I can, like, you want people to kind of know you exist. I just, personally, I haven't really found it necessary. Thankfully, people have been kind enough to stick around and help me out in that department. Austin Monday says, do you play with the karmic dice? I mean, usually just because it's on by default, and a lot of times I forget to turn it off. But, like, honestly, I've done both with and without, and I really haven't noticed much of a difference either way. Alright, he's got Sanctuary. I was like, why can't I talk to this guy? Good grief, can I get in the right position? There's that guy gone, and then that just leaves the Drider. Redfern says, do I know Game Ranks recommended my channel for one of the reviews? Yeah, I believe it was Aliens Dark Descent, if my memory serves. Okay, so poor Gale is going to get obliterated on his turn, but before that happens... Jinzaba says 2 targets on Eldritch Blast. Yeah, cantrips scale with your character level, as it turns out. Which is why, eventually, we should theoretically get 3. Though, without the Warlock Invocation adding our Charisma bonus to it, it's still not going to be incredible or anything. Whoa, what a crit. Alright. And now... I think that's pretty much... Switch. There it goes. It for the drive. Gale, don't kill everybody. Okay. And now we can loot the alternative method for protecting against the Shadow Curse, which is the lantern.
This lantern only lights the way when I am hurting night and day.
She cannot be more pain than my own ears from that insufferable rhyming.
But we can realize that they are using a pixie to get their magic to protect against the curse. And by freeing this one, we can get a permanent buff instead of having to use the Moon Lantern to do so, which gives us a second version called Pixie Blessing, which is a little bit better for getting into the more cursed areas, I guess would be the way to put it.
How much farther can I go?
Loot everybody, then we will rest up real quick before we get moving on to more exploring.
Blast scars. Spell and sword alike were used to ravage this battlefield.
Imagine the glorious din of it all. The streaming banners, the charging knights, the piles of severed
I want to say it's on the roof, but you can get the key to that chest. Not that there's anything good in it. Okay. We are... Technically, we have short rests available, but like everyone has dropped a bunch of their spells already because of the combats we've been in, so I'm just going to go ahead and do a long rest. Russell said there's no downside to talking to the pixie for the buff. Yeah, there really isn't. It's kind of crazy how much better that simple decision is. Alright, Mazora is telling Will that he has to free someone from the tower. You can
Will relaxes.
Argue on Will's behalf to try to get him out of his pact here.
Interesting. Now, why should I go letting my favorite pet off his leash?
Ah, no.
I've never seen such a fine claws F.
You've heard of.
All right, she agrees. You'll find out why later.
Path lies before me.
Few people to talk to. Redfern says, how do you change your dice? The lower left corner, when you go to do a dice roll, has an option to change the dice skin. If you had the game in early access, you have access to a couple already.
She makes a mockery of everything the blade stands for. Such an can already feel her scheming. One of those mindless. I always knew what my future. We can learn a lot from fairy tales, don't you think? Refuse him, no matter how tempting you. But the devil won't take.
See what Karlach has to say.
We're supposed to risk it.
She also is kind of tied up with Mizora, or at least used to be. Astarion wants to talk to Raphael, I believe, though it doesn't actually matter if you do.
You know, you might be a little naive in the ways that... So I was thinking, what would be the
Orderman says how to save Will's dad, if I don't mind saying. That is major spoilers, and we're not there yet.
Parasites in our heads. Whoever's waiting for us at Moonrise Towers control... You can't tell me that doesn't... Of course, this all assumes we live long.
So I know people's opinions differ on the subject, but I find Astarion just so annoying. Vapor says, big fan, Mortem. I appreciate it. Kind of you. Okay. Pretty much it. Withers is up. This is, by the way, just as a random aside, of all of the camp layouts throughout the game, this is like my least favorite. Everything's way spread out. Alright.
The voice.
Dream Visitor
You did
again.
a brave thing.
The hurt runs deeper than.
Each wave is. In any case.
Now we can get back to exploring. Bruno says, so many years, and this is the first time I see your face. I mean, in fairness, the videos exist. It's not a difficult thing to find a video with my face in it. Greg says, why is Valo still there? So Valo hangs out until you get to Baldur's Gate if you saved him, regardless of whether or not you took his help. Okay. Alright, the most annoying fight in the area, in my opinion, is like right there. So we'll hold off on that one. Couple people saying Valo left. So if I recall correctly, if you take the surgery where like he replaces your eye, he does like what looks like a lobotomy, honestly. If you let him do that completely, he'll be like, oh no, oops, gotta go, and then bail on you. But if you don't do that and you decline his help, I've never had him leave after that, but either way, he shows back up in the Act 3.
Eager for battle.
Alright, there's not much up here besides some chests.
Like walking into a military history.
Greg says it's a good eye. Yeah, so the surgery he performs is awful, but the rewards you get for doing it is actually pretty good. It does alter your character's appearance, though. So something to keep in mind. Alright, we gotta be kind of quick when we head down this way because Roland, one of the tieflings, should be down here getting attacked, I believe. Yeah.
What's that for?
Okay. They both hid in the shadows. That is real annoying. Oh, not everybody's in combat either. Oh, jeez. Shadowheart. Sometimes when you jump down from places, not everybody likes to follow, so now I gotta run Shadowheart all the way back. I was like, where's everybody else? Am I doing a worm-free run? No, we've already got a couple. Russell says, what do I think about the 2 true love rings in this act that grant warding bond? I mean, they're okay. I don't personally care much for them, honestly, but you know, I don't hate them.
Still on my feet.
Okay.
Very well.
Unfortunately, I don't have the vision to see exactly where these guys are. Just gonna dash up and join the fight here. Jelly J Man says, love the stream. I appreciate it. That's kind of you. I'm glad people enjoy it. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm a pretty boring guy on camera, but some people do seem to enjoy it, so I appreciate it. Here are our 2. We'll go after this one first so Roland doesn't die. Wow, what a crit on that. I don't even think that was a crit. Oh, no, it was a crit. It just didn't say. Just Hedge says, would I recommend this for a first-time CRPG player not used to these games? Yeah, so this, like, as far as CRPGs go, this is about as easy to get into as they get. It honestly only gets harder from here, so this is about the best place to start. Few people saying they like the stream. I appreciate it. Bobby B says, I like you because you're boring. You know, believe it or not, I get that a lot. Some people appreciate the fact that I don't bring a lot of the over-the-top energy that a lot of other content creators can bring. Not that there's anything wrong with their approach, but there's space for everybody. Alright, so I think a sneak attack should pretty much do it. No need to trip. Nice.
God damn it all! I could do death. Instead, I found myself.
Roland's mad he couldn't save his friends. And he feels like a failure, but once you save him here, he goes back to Last Light. Cleveland says people have been criticizing Act 3. Is it the weakest act out of the 3? Of the 3, yeah. I mean, unsurprisingly. That's the part that obviously got tested the least. So it is a little bit rough by comparison. I still think it's really good, but there are definitely some spots where it's like, all right, this doesn't quite work as well as the rest of it. Variontron says, come on, just attempt to go over the top for like 5 seconds tops. You know, you know what's funny is sometimes I'll record like audio or something for a video where I'm like, oh man, I was like super pumped. And then I listen back to the recording and it's just like the same as ever. I guess we'll go this way, and I can show people the fight I dislike the most in this area, but I think we need to walk up here a little bit. Forrest says, is Barbarian more boring than the others because of the lack of magic? No, not necessarily. I think Barbarian is one of the more interesting like martial classes just because of the rage mechanics and stuff.
How can I help?
I mean, you compare them to something like a fighter who literally just presses attack all the time. I think there's at least a little something going on with a barbarian, but in general, I'd say it comes down to preference. Are there spiders in this? Asking for a friend and not my own crippling fear. There are quite a few spiders, and I don't think there's an arachnophobia option either. Like, they're not overdone, but there's definitely a few. Jelly J-Man says, finished Elden Ring because of my review. I appreciate it. Glad to hear people got some enjoyment out of that one. Elden Ring was a lot, man. That was... like, I no-liked that game when it came out, as I'm sure a lot of people did. Okay, so this fight is probably my least favorite in the area because these guys are really annoying. Real quick, we're going to heal up Gale a little bit because he's going to take some damage for sure.
At least things have stayed interesting. Yes. Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times.
Okay, what I think we will do though is circle around to the other side where it is a little easier to hit them. Will I do a review of the Elden Ring DLC? I mean, I'll definitely play it. I don't know. So DLC reviews are tricky. Like, a lot of DLC, like, just to be real, it just isn't worth the time investment. Like, I'll play them on my own usually, but there's usually just not enough there to make a video on all the time, unless it's just, like, something big for the channel. But in the case of Elden Ring's DLC, I think it'll likely be the case that I'll do something for it. Brass says, are you aware of the bomb pouch technique? Yeah, I've seen a lot of the crazy stuff people have been doing. I think my favorite recent, like, it's kind of silly thing is that owlbear video where they jump from, like, really high up to do this damaging ability. And it does, like, something like 10,000 damage because of the height. It was really silly. Austin Monday says, did I stream Elden Ring? No. I don't stream a ton, honestly. Making videos as often as I do pretty much takes up all my time. So spending like 4 or 5 hours a day on streaming instead of working on a video or playing something for a video can be a lot. Because even when I'm streaming something, you might think that that is something I could turn into a video, but then I can't necessarily use that footage because my face is in it and it's not really in line with the rest of the video, and then there's all sorts of stuff like that you have to think about.
Let me work my magic.
Okay, so we are going to open up with Gale here. Let's see if he has a scroll we can make use of. Not really, to be honest. At least I want a wall of fire, I suppose. But these guys teleport around, so wall of fire is not super useful. Alright. Fireball it is. Was the last time I streamed the Wrath of the Righteous challenge? I want to say I did some Wasteland stuff after that, but it might have been the Midnight Isles thing. It was one of those two. For absurd, which stat is my highest, and how do I decide what to prioritize? I am focusing on dexterity and bows because they get a lot of arrows and things that can be useful kind of regardless of your class. So that was kind of the gist of what I went with. I talk a little bit more about it in the first video, I think, actually. William says, nice to see the person behind the content after all these videos I've watched. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. Shadowheart's turn, I think. They're surprised, so I still get another turn after this. That's not bad. Gonna move her a little closer.
Path lies before me.
Oh, good grief. If I could do some decent damage so that thing would die.
My path be true.
Go for the stun. Got it. Nice. Good, good. Okay, this actually hasn't been too bad. Got a good few lucky hits in there.
That might be worth a look. On my way.
Try not to hit Lae'zel with this. Alright, so these guys teleport to you and use this skill called Garrote. And then try to teleport away with you, which was incredibly annoying. Am I doing Jack of all trades with all my characters? Just the main one. Alright, so we should be able to sneak attack that guy. Guarantee the crit. Oh, whoops. And do bonus attack. Stuffing the 3. He's gonna go after Gale, I bet. Yeah, he's gonna teleport away if we don't kill him next turn.
I will not know failure.
We get the days. Nope, saved it.
I don't fancy their chances.
Alright, now the downside of the Garrote is I can't cast any spells, which is why they usually go after your spellcaster with it.
Bleed for me.
What class am I currently using? A bunch of them.
I wonder if this is worth it.
There we go. I think we tempting to heal Gale, but I think I'll just let him take the damage. So as you can see, they teleport super far away to try to single you out and get you subject to the curse. But because we have the curse protection, it's not that big a deal. So it really comes down to if we can actually hit the guy.
Always be a gentleman.
Gale got a melee critical, which wraps that fight up. That was not how I was expecting to end that, but all right. How much damage did he do? Yeah, hit him for exactly 14, and that's how much life he had left. Well played, Gale.
Let's get going.
Like, it was pretty much all he could do, but I wasn't expecting it to be that effective.
I wonder what the next move is.
By the way, since I've never been able to catch a stream live, I just wanted to say thank you for being objective in your reviews as a diehard Dragon Age fan. Thank you for driving more of my friends to try it. I appreciate it. I'm glad I could help out. I think, I mean, the main goal of the channel really is to talk about the games I enjoyed, so seeing that push other people into trying things they might not have otherwise and enjoying it can be a lot of job satisfaction for me. All right, so it looks like we're not gonna get to check for it, but there is. Oh no, okay. Okay, it's just being. I heard Shadowheart in combat say something about it, but there's a little stash right here which has a key to this chest over here.
Action, not reaction.
And this sets you on a quest, I believe, if you read this note, about a Cellunite resistance that was going on at the time the curse actually got put into place. So these are pretty cool gloves, but we don't really need them right now compared to other things we are doing. Jake says, I've been running Thief, College of Swords. What build is my main? My very first playthrough was just a pretty basic Warlock build, to be honest. I would say the build I put the most work into so far was my Cleric Paladin Terror of Tiamat, because I was using that one for Tactician. So I put a lot of work into like min-maxing that and trying to make sure I was having a solid roleplay theme at the same time, and I think that kind of shows in the video, to be honest. Okay, still a lot of stuff to explore, but making some good progress here. Find this illicit power I keep forgetting about.
Elminster's not around, so might as well.
Eager for battle.
Okay.
Indolence breeds madness.
Still breathing, despite everything.
Alright, we're going to try to give everybody psionic backlash. So we'll start working our way there.
Long road ahead. Should mind my step.
Peter Clay says, we enjoy the same game, so my favorite channel has been for a while. I appreciate it. Kind of you to say. This might be a little bit biased, but my channel is also my favorite channel. Alright, and then if we had taken the mountain pass, it would have led us to this path, but there is a fight over here we can get into. And also a bunch of stuff to loot. So, realistically,
Pile of
nothing too crazy.
belongings, forsaken to the curse, so that their owners could escape with their lives.
No traps, please.
Too big to be a spearwing. A horn?
Another one of the refugees.
Should do it.
Some people asked earlier, so if you want to change the dice skin, just over here on the left, and then if you had early access or like you pre-ordered or whatever, you have a few. The default one is scuffed metal, and then you have these extra ones on the side here. They added Bahir Blue recently, and I don't know if that was like special or they forgot to put it in with launch or whatever, but they mentioned adding that one over on Twitter. What level am I right now? Level 7. The max you're going to get in Act 1 is pretty much level 7. We haven't been in Act 2 for very long. Act 2 is quite a bit shorter. You'll leave Act 2 probably right around level 9.
This beast didn't go down without a fight.
Because Act 2 is the shortest one in the game. So if we had taken the mountain pass, this is where we would have come out at. I mean, technically we did go to the mountain pass, but we entered the shadow-cursed lands through the Underdark. Because that puts us closer to Last Light Inn. How many acts total are there? There are 3 acts. Act 1 with the druid and the goblin conflict, and then Act 2 is what you're seeing here, the shadow-cursed lands, and then Act 3 is the city itself. Okay, so over here there is some loot and a fight, and then we can also loot this camp. If we had come in through the mountain pass, there would have been people here, but those are the people we killed in that ambush earlier. And they could have tried to guide us to Moonrise Towers, which can lead you to the sort of evil route for this particular act. Marked as red says you can do both. Yeah, you can do both the Underdark and the mountain pass. And I usually do, because, you know, experience and items, but you can ultimately only enter the Shadow Curse lands from one of them, and I usually pick the Underdark because it puts you closer to the main town hub. Jake Parkinson says level 9. I'm barely level 7 in Act 3. I don't know how you managed that.
Prime spot for an ambush.
Which do I think is more rewarding? Overall, I would say the Mountain Pass. The Mountain Pass has so many great items that I use for a lot of builds, but the Underdark also has some really great stuff like the Grimforge forged items that can be a little more tailor-made, and then there is the disintegrating Nightwalker boots that drop off of an enemy there, which are just insane boots. I think...
What am I to do?
Yeah, these ones, you get those in the Underdark. Those are incredible boots. Alright, so there are enemies hiding in the bushes here.
Charmed, I'm sure.
We'll start with a wall of fire. Most of them are over there, and they're going to walk through that fire to get to us. But since I have a 90% chance to hit, I think we'll go ahead and do level 3. Nice. Then we'll switch to Lae'zel. And maybe make it all the way over there. Ah, missed that second attack. That sucks. Alright, and then we'll leave the spirit weapon for now. Wall of fire is just like instant death to the little ones. Alright, sneak attack on... Oh no, I think I'm too far away. Even though she's right next to it. Because of the light, maybe.
No gloom, all doom.
Oh, he's called the class, this one. What level am I at? We're level 7 right now. Better than Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Different. I wouldn't necessarily say better. I'll make a video kind of breaking down what I think of each one when I get done with this, but there are things I like more about Wrath of the Righteous. I mean, the rule set for starters, but other things as well. How hard do I think a kill everything run will be? Probably not that bad, to be honest with you, especially if you're like min-maxing it, where you're doing the quests and everything for the XP and then killing things afterwards. I think you could actually wind up being a bit more powerful than you might normally be in that situation, but the experience curve in this game is a little tighter than it was in something like Divinity, though. But I don't think it would be that bad. If I can change Shadowheart's class to Tempest Cleric, does it break her story or Gale to Sorcerer? No, not really. You're not going to break their story. It's just going to be like a little awkward in places. But for Shadowheart, I think Tempest Cleric is a great change because that domain change doesn't change the fact that she's a Cleric of Shar, which is what her story's about. So the domain in that instance doesn't actually matter.
Victory awaits.
And Meister says, oh, catching some live. Glad to have you here. What is True says, the mission shipment quest from Act 1. I didn't get the dialogue to complete the shipment. Can I still steal it while it's in the cave? Off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I want to say yeah, because I know there's a thing in Act 3 that if you don't get it in Act 2 shows up. And there's a lot of stuff like that, so I would say probably, but off the top of my head, I'm not sure. Alright, so we got that guy over there. Cast our one guiding bolt at him.
Another fight.
Nice crit. And broke the concentration. Nice. Alright, we'll switch over to Gale, who will... I think just a regular old magic missile would probably do it here. That thing's going to blow up and do a little damage. If it dies. 1 HP.
Go from here.
Okay.
I am fury. I am death.
Oh, come on. There we go. That's way more damage than worth. Took 26 to the face on that. Christ. Alright.
Sometimes the only way out is through.
But now all we need to do is a little bit of damage to this guy.
Creator. Destroyer.
Eat this!
Can't give up.
Nice. Okay, we'll give it a short rest to heal up a little bit there.
That hit the spot.
That was a really big explosion hit. They don't normally do quite that much.
Something good here, I hope.
Alright, and then all you really get for that fight is this Frost Prince necklace. Not that we really need it, because it just lets you cast Ice Knife, but that's not that crazy. Rex has 1 HP. Hate it when that's happening. Yeah, it's happening a lot on this particular run. That's pretty much it for over here. So we'll teleport back to Last Light and start exploring up in the top area there.
Eyes open. Wits sharp.
Nudge says, I think I can play Pathfinder better after Baldur's Gate 3. I think it'll certainly help you wrap your head around the core concepts, though. In general, Pathfinder, the games especially, are a little more rules heavy, but the core concepts more or less translate. All right. There is a single quest over here for us to pick up, but also... Oh, crap, there's a fight over here. Almost forgot about it. More guys hiding in the vines. Back up a little bit.
You have my attention.
There's a couple up here, one over here. The big one's over here somewhere, I thought. Oh no, there it is. And a couple more in the bushes. Wildcat says, sup? What's going on? Caleb says, do I think Wrath of the Righteous has better companions? I was about the same, to be honest. There are just more companions overall in Wrath of the Righteous, and there's a few more that I think have more in-depth storylines, but I wouldn't really consider any of them like better than any of the others.
Time to strike.
All right. Gotta take stock of where everything is here.
That matters.
Got to focus.
I think we'll cast a very boring firebolt and then throw up a guardian weapon to distract them.
Another fight. Let's go.
Of course I would miss right there. I want them all to kind of group up for me before I really use anything big. Fizz FFA asked a question in chat that is heavy spoilers, but I will say that no, that is not possible.
Tale for the ages.
This is actually looking a little better than I thought it would. They're all trying to attack that weapon and grouping up right where I wanted them. Besides that. Alright.
I will ascend. Can't afford to let up.
Of course, you would only do 2 damage. So.
I will give in.
Nice. And last but not least, we've got Gale with the fireball. Didn't do a ton of damage there. Gale kind of let me down. David says like they're asking you to fireball them. Well, that was the idea, but we got a pretty uninspired fireball roll there. Of course, 1 HP. So I was trying to kill this one to set off that chain reaction, and 1 damage shy, because why wouldn't it be?
Important is everything. No choice but to keep going.
Alright, there we go. Use our other short rest there, and then we'll have Gale Arcane Recovery, his level 4 slot.
If not over, then through. Right tool will do the trick.
Ori Calcom says Celestia Druid versus BG3 Druid. Probably BG3 just because I think the wild shapes have more going on, but I will say that Druid is a hard class to pull off in a game, or at least for me, because
What's that?
a lot of the mechanics have potential outside of combat that can be kind of hard to pull off, and while Baldur's Gate 3 I think does a decent job with it, even still a lot of it's kind of like awkward in places, so none of them are really doing it for me, to be honest. What's a good class to prioritize archery? I mean, there's a bunch of them. Fighter, rogue, you could even make a Spore Druid archer. That's a popular one these days. If I could stop failing this check. Hold on, we'll have to guidance this. Come on. There it is. Nova Trap says Pathfinder must be very good if it can stand up to this game. So Pathfinder's a little more classic with its CRPG approach. So it's not quite as cinematic or high production value as this is.
The waiting mode.
The murdered lie such.
Right, so this guy asked us to go find a
Through it, I can summon. Will you take
ledger that will prove this woman's guilt in a crime. And we can choose to help him out with that. And that leaves this last area to be explored with, I believe, one more fight with the shambling mound shadow blight creatures. All right. Once we get that area explored, we can head into the town area, which has a lot of fun stuff going on. Cleveland says he seems like a lovely fella. That is certainly one way to describe the guy. Remy says, hey everyone, what's going on, man? Alright, so... Other than that, I don't know, there's actually two fights, because there's one with some shadow wraith, and then up near this tower, this is the bigger fight with that guy, who's a proper shambling mound.
Salutations.
This particular fight can be a little bit rough. Because there are a lot of enemies. Got three there, those two, the big guy, that guy, those two, and these two corpses will rise up in just a second as well.
Got to press on.
Still on my feet. At the ready.
Do not have a good angle on most things there. And it doesn't help that you start this fight on low ground.
Victory awaits. My path be true.
Have I done a playthrough on the original unfair difficulty in Wrath of the Righteous? I want to say yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly like what patch it was when I did it. So, I mean, depending on your qualifications of original there. But yes, I've done an unfair playthrough. Can't say I enjoy it much, to be honest. Definitely prefer core myself. Have I tried Oathbreaker Paladin yet? Yeah, I've played around with it. It's a lot of fun. There goes our spirit weapon, but... Okay, I was worried they were going to break her concentration there. That would have sucked. Waterman says I learn a lot of tactics from how I play. I appreciate it. Glad to be of help, honestly. Ah, there it is. Finally broke my concentration. That sucks.
Swords meet sorcery.
Alright, luckily though, they're all kind of grouped up. Chain reaction. All of the explosions, which killed most everybody else. I was a little worried it was going to kill Lae'zel, but somehow she managed to tank through that.
Need to stay focused.
I was hoping I could push him into the chasm over there, but it doesn't look like I can.
Victory awaits.
Time to push my luck again.
Let's cut the concentration on the cloud daggers. If only so I can start moving up a little bit here. Elliot says, why do I prefer Pathfinder over BG3? Well, I wouldn't say I prefer one over the other just yet, but generally speaking, I prefer Pathfinder to 5th edition D&D. The rule set, that is. It's just got a little more going on. And while they've done some fun things with it here, I just think there's more to Pathfinder, which can make it a little more replayable from a combat perspective.
Time to strike.
They're probably going to down at least one person here. I'd be surprised if they don't. That one's playing like cat and mouse. It just kind of keeps running out of range. What's my least favorite boss in this game? I wouldn't really say I have a least favorite, honestly. Maybe the spider matriarch. Like, you either one-shot it or it's a really annoying fight. Mostly because of the level you're at, like, around that time. I don't think I've ever really enjoyed that fight in particular, but beyond that, I mean, most of them are fine. You play through them enough, you kind of just learn how to work your way through it. What my favorite act is, I would say Act 1 for sure. It's by far the most polished.
Nothing important is ever easy.
I am fury. I am death.
There's one down.
Concentrate.
Nothing will stand in my way.
And 2.
Can't give up now.
Alright. Took a ton of damage there, but
Best be on my way.
not too bad, all things considered. How did I distribute ability points for this? Very carefully. No, so charisma and dexterity are primarily what we're worried on. So dexterity, we're using bows and things to use the arrows and stuff. That way we can use the different arrow types, which is going to be relevant kind of regardless of your build, is kind of the general gist. And then charisma to pass some of the checks, since we're not really going to be doing much else. Most annoying thing about...
Shadow
Oh, good
King,
grief.
she loves me.
Good
Don't-
for you. Alright. Trying to move through there, getting caught on vines, talking to Shadowheart when I don't want to. Alright. Reaver said, did I have trouble with the artist's mansion in Act 3? The poltergeists were very annoying. So I found the best thing to do there was to kind of like lure some of them out the back door or down into like that back hallway. So like even if you didn't know exactly where they were because they were invisible or everything, you could kind of just AoE them down. But what annoyed me more about that particular mansion was the traps that would constantly push you around that were very difficult to get rid of because of their sturdiness buff. David said, how long is Act 3? It depends on how much you do, but the first time you're going through it, I would say at least 20 hours, if not more. Okay, so there's that, and then we got one last little route to go through over here, which is going to bring us to the last fight, as well as another checkpoint.
The very plates of the earth have been shattered by the magic of the Shadow Curse. Utterly fascinating. Unless you happen to be standing on it, of course.
Dead Duragar up there. Our checkpoint, and then the last fight right over there. That we will rest before we do that. That gives you a quest if you don't already have it. Alright, now we're gonna go to camp. Karlak wants to chat. I think that's pretty much it. Somnio Static says, love your stuff. I appreciate it. Kind of you.
Oh my god, soldier. That's Jaheira. The Jaheira. Don't you know the whole story?
Oh, Remy asked if I have a preferred route for the game. I mean, kind of. It's super variable, so even if you try to do something
Let's hope Damon
the way
is
you
as good
have
as he
previously, it might not necessarily go the way you think it does if you fail a roll or something like that here and there. So even if you try to do like a way through the game that you have a preference for, it can still kind of turn out a little differently for you. All right, all healed up. We have Find Familiar, but we're not using it too much, honestly.
Whatever comes, I'm ready.
Let's move.
How do I play CRPGs so fast? Takes me ages just to finish them. I've played a ton of them, is pretty much how.
Moving ahead.
Yor says, live, nice. Love your videos and the work you do. I appreciate it. Glad you could make it. Have I figured out a use for the brains in jars? Yeah, there is a use for the brains in jars, and it is at the end of this act. You can hook them up to a machine, and they will give you a bunch of unique dialogue. We probably won't get to that today, but when I get to that point, which is the end of Act 2, I'll show everybody what I'm talking about. So if you bring the brains in jars that you find on the Mind Flayer ship in the tutorial, you can get some unique dialogue out of it. Alright, last fight.
But will you play with me? Not that kind of playing, silly. I want to play. Make time.
No.
He is important later, but this is just a fight at the moment. Alright, you don't want to be too close together at the start of this fight, which is unfortunately we kind of already are, but... Other than that, this fight's not that bad. We're gonna hold off on that bonus attack. Because they like to jump up onto the roof, which is really annoying. And then they hit you with that AoE. Oh wow, she got the crit there, so it just auto divine smited. Nice. The worst thing about this fight is trying to get up to the roof. Ridiculous. It can be a bit buggy.
Need to stay focused.
That leaves us with the last one up there. Oh, nice. She teleported down. I usually don't do that, but that helps us out a lot.
Victory awaits.
Trying to jump where I was going to lose the least amount of HP there. One HP again. And he'll just disappear after that happens. Core History donated 20 Canadian dollars. Said, thanks again for your work. As somebody who loves Wrath of the Righteous, is this moving closer to it in terms of ranking, or still a ways yet to go? It's definitely close. I'd like to do the 100% first, but it's definitely getting there. Oh, Lucas gifted 5 memberships. That's really kind of him. I so rarely stream, I kind of forgot that was a thing until just now, so appreciate it, Lucas. Alright, that's pretty much it for right here. Just gotta unlock this chest, and then we will be off to the slightly more interesting half of Act 2, which is the town.
Flick of the wrist.
What was the 100% I hated the most? I mean, nothing really springs to mind right this second. I'm pretty sure I made a video on that. Swift Arrow says, your channel's rapidly becoming an insta-click since I found you a little over a year ago. Looking forward to the videos every day. I appreciate it. Always happy to hear stuff like that, man. Alright, so come down here to the bridge, cross into the town, and that's where a lot of the more interesting encounters happen. There are like 3 optional bosses here that you can just talk to death. That is to say, there is an option to kill them via dialogue.
Crates and caravans. The town toll house, surely.
Perhaps some of its earnings can still be found.
And then, of course, there's the actual Moonrise Towers over here. Creeping up on level 8, slowly but surely. There is a battle over here. One of the bosses is in the toll house, which is one of the easier ones to kill, even if you don't do the dialogue option. Orderman says, can you show how to do the achievement with each boss? Only 2 of them have achievements, 2 of the 3. I can walk people through it. The one for the boss right above us is really hard. I had to reload probably 30 times to get it.
From behind.
It was very annoying.
The horizon.
But yes. Like honestly, probably the key thing to know about the achievements for these bosses in this act is that you have to actually fight them. If you kill them in dialogue, it doesn't count. Okay. We'll save just in case this goes badly. But first up, we have the toll collector.
What do you bring?
Which is this gold-plated monstrosity. So in order to get the achievement for this boss, you have to, in combat, kill her without getting hit by any of her abilities. And in order to do that, all the floating skulls around the room, called the visages, have to be killed first, so you lower her health total, and then you can hit her like once and she'll die. But you have to do that without her hitting you for any of your abilities. You could probably technically like kill her potentially as well, just straight through her health total, but because she has like 600, I think, health it is before you kill those visages, that's difficult. But basically for the achievement, you have to kill her before she hits you with any of her abilities, which is surprisingly difficult. It took me probably more tries than any other boss achievement was trying to get this one. Alright, so
You can pass.
we'll toss a gold piece, and then we'll say how much do you want.
That you have. You may pass the river.
And then we'll get some persuasion options, which can be a little difficult. But as you can see, we've got a lot of persuasion bonuses, so this really shouldn't be that bad. And that's before we even add guidance or potentially voice of the circle, but we'll hold on to that because I feel like our 12 to 15 bonus here is probably going to be enough. Yeah, 22.
The gold
and then
is
one
not
more.
For me. The gold is for the toll. I collect the toll.
Which is a little bit harder, but we don't get our favorable beginnings on this one. Rolled a 32, and that's that. Guys in dialogue. Ta-da! And then the nice thing about not chewing through her health normally is that she drops all that gold when she dies.
Wish I had a bag of holding.
Oh, someone in chat mentioned that that boss one-shotted them. That is because you had a bunch of gold on your person. Probably the most annoying ability that boss has is called like Jealous Avarice or something like that. And it does damage based on how much gold is on your character. So because I have like thousands of gold, she'll attack that character with it. And because of the gold amount, she'll wind up dealing like 1,000 damage in a single turn, which is just a one-shot for everyone. Anzac says, howdy, what's going on? There's a lot of decent loot in this place. Mace key. Some hints about her illicit dealings. See if we can't get Lae'zel to pass this check. Nice. There's nothing in here, really, besides just like a little bit more gold, which is a little disappointing to me because like that's just not that much gold at this point in the game. So it's
with haste.
Like they give you that big safe, and then the reward for it is underwhelming. Do I usually stick with the same companions or switch it up? I switch it up. I have done 3 full runs of the game so far, not including this one, and every single one of them has been a different set of companions. The only consistent one has been Gale because he is a convenient caster. But otherwise, different ones each time. You can break those boards, of course, and get down into the lower room, but honestly, there's just not that much down there. And then if you jump in from the outside, you can loot this room, but same thing, kind of a disappointing amount of loot down there. Alright. Now we'll continue exploring around town. Still quite a few things to do here. Moonrise Towers is over that way.
We're close. I can feel it.
Out the back of the toll house there's an alternative entrance, but we can grab
Its
the
power is strong here.
waypoint. Do I play games on console or only PC? Pretty much PC. Like, I have a Nintendo Switch, but that's, like, honestly mostly just for my son.
I'll give it a shot.
What difficulty am I playing on? We're playing this on balanced, just so I can try to do the jack of all trades run without doing it the easy way. Yeah, so if you wanted to try to sneak into Moonrise Towers, you could go this way and do that. Which will take you down to the dock area, which leads into the prison without too much of a fuss. Orderman asked a somewhat spoilery question. The answer to it, though, is technically yes. All right, and then this is the second of 3 bosses we can potentially talk our way out of. This one is a little more difficult. So we'll see how it goes. What is this big hulking guy, Thizabald here? You basically have to either outdrink him or pretend to outdrink him. So you can pass a bunch of different checks to either drink what he's brewing or just pretend to drink it. And basically you're trying to get him to drink enough of it that he dies. Joel says, are you playing with Hotfix 4? I'm not sure if my game updated. I actually didn't check, and I didn't realize it was crashing until somebody in chat mentioned it. So the fact that we haven't crashed and we've been at it for a few hours now leads me to believe that it's probably fine. But we shall see. All right. I have so many options here, and all of them are pretty good. I think we're going to go sleight of hand, though. Nat 1 on that. That sucked. 21. So the reason this one's a bit harder than the other options are that you have to pass so many checks for this one. it's a lot harder to sort of inspiration your way through it. Will I consider this game 100% when Jack of All Trades is done? No. Jack of All Trades is the last achievement I need, but there's still a lot I've got to do.
For powers profane. You ask, you drink, then you
Alright, now that we've passed those, we can ask some questions.
bring it in. Questions done.
Then we have to do another check here.
Only drink.
Another nat 1. Followed by a 22.
Tell me of foes fell, villains vanquished, beast bastard.
Nat 20. Screamin' says, I kind of hope that he fights this. Took me forever. I would say of the mini bosses in this area, I would say this one is the hardest of the bosses that are here.
Ask, question, make your more. Now more. The customer is always right.
This should be the last round of checks here. I don't know if we'll get it though. Pretty much only got the one more chance of this. Nice. There it is. Got him through dialogue. Took all of our inspiration to do it, but we did get some back just for getting it done.
Maybe we'll get proper news now.
Getting closer and closer to level 8. This is the ledger for that creepy guy out in the nature-y area. Oh, am I encumbered? I am. We're gonna have to go sell some junk.
Accept my pleas. Do
If there are serious story consequences in using some of the illithid powers. I made a video talking about that specifically. I won't spoil it here.
Don't give me trouble now.
There's just potion ingredients back in that room. There's really not much back here. If you read his ledger, you can learn how to create a poison, but the poison isn't that super interesting, honestly.
Read this after the pet book. There's unfortunately a deep.
Alright, so what we will do, because we are running out of inventory space, let's clear out the map here, then we'll head back to Last Light, sell a bunch of stuff,
I bet that'll fit in my pack.
and then go turn that ledger quest in. Jay Rambles asks if there is a way to get Minthara while saving the tieflings. I haven't tested like every possibility yet. I'm told it's possible to recruit Minthara if you completely skip the Grove stuff, like you just go straight to Act 2, like don't even bother with all the quests and stuff there. I don't know how true that is, but I have had someone mention that to me, but I have not personally tried it out yet. But as far as I'm aware, no. In terms of actually saving the tieflings. Alright, so... there's sadly not much else in that bar to discover, but there are a lot of rooms and stuff you can get into. That said, teleport back to Last Light. There's a quest we have up here for investigating the inn, and that is, if you go into this building, there's a small underground portion that leads to a single fight that then sends you over to a building right up here. So
It'll need to.
I don't usually bother doing that intermediate step, And then, I tell you what, while we're here, we'll actually go get Karlach and talk to Damon as part of her quest. People were asking me about quality of life features earlier, and I mentioned swapping out party members, and this is kind of what I mean, because in order to recruit Karlach now, I have to go talk to one party member, dismiss them, go talk to Karlach, recruit her, talk to her single...
You can tell that to the next one we cross paths. Difficult to say.
like, conversation for her quest, and then
May the darkness protect
recruit her back
If you're
right
sure.
afterwards. It's just a little bit
Fine.
annoying. Oh, there she is. Jake Parkinson says the pub guy is tough because of his elemental damage. So
What's on your mind?
the boss we just killed in dialogue is meant to be sort of just tanked for the first few rounds until he gets drunk, at which point you'll deal like double damage to him.
Carla. Well, two things.
But the first few rounds, you're
news
just supposed to survive.
Yeah, sure.
Only one way to find out. But that, I won't stop trying to figure out a.
He basically tells Karlach he doesn't have any hard solutions for her.
I'm so happy for me too. I don't expect.
Now we can sell all our junk.
Lois, if you need something sharp, I have a few things left.
Which is a lot of this, because we don't need much. I like that ring. I don't use it a ton, but I do enjoy it. We'll send that to camp. We'll send you to camp in case we happen to need it, but we'll see. We might try to see if Shadowheart can make use of that.
I'll be here if you
Pretty
need.
much be it, though, and I think that'll have reduced our weight a substantial amount.
Is that blood? Never mind.
Indolence breeds madness.
Forgot she had some stuff.
Can't sleep, so I might as well.
Any other class recommendation for
Need
a
anything?
Frenzy Berserker? I haven't tried it I haven't tried it personally yet, but because they get that extra attack on a bonus attack, it could be interesting to go 3 levels of a Thief Rogue, just for the extra bonus action, which could theoretically be useful.
I'll be here if you.
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times.
Alright, cool. Now we'll swap our party members back out.
What's on your mind?
Did I do the Druid playthrough alongside this one off stream? More or less. I had just started it when I started streaming this, but because I hadn't been streaming the past few days because I couldn't, I actually took the time to finish that playthrough then.
Oh, come on.
Never wanted the easy path.
And we'll grab Shadowheart again.
Poor Karlach. She can finally see.
All right.
Wits and blades always sharp.
Have a lot on my mind and, well, in it.
We can head back out to the Shadowed Battlefield. Second, guys. Okay, so... Oh yeah, last light was actually closer. But we gotta go turn that quest into the creepy guy in the woods. I always forget exactly which path leads to that guy because it's kind of twisted up right there. Gondon says Will and Karlach leaving is why I won't be able to do the evil playthrough. Yeah, I mean, I can't say it was a surprise, but it was a bit of a bummer to see them go.
We will leave soon enough.
Leave?
No, not until we've dealt with Madeline. The air stirs intrepid.
We can give him the ledger.
The judge. Make her beg.
At which point, he will bring forth her spirit, the woman he was talking to.
The dark just...
At which point he wants us to punish
I'd do
her.
anything to take it back. Anything.
You broke her most thoroughly.
Alright, there we go. You get a little bit of reward. Depending on your choices there, you might wind up having to fight that guy, but it's not like a terribly difficult fight if you do. But not much of a point in doing so. Alright, so there's that, and now we will head back to the town, do the Masons Guild, which is where we can investigate the Selûnite resistance, I believe they call it. Do I like any of the newer Assassin's Creed games? I haven't played enough of them to give like a serious opinion. They started just like pumping them out one after another, and they felt a little uninspired, which is when I stopped playing them. The last Assassin's Creed that I like genuinely got into was 2.
Let this be a warning. Those who defy Shah's will shall suffer darkness without her blessing.
Now, in fairness to the Assassin's Creed games, though, like I haven't played any of the newer ones, so like they just don't interest me on the face of it. So it's not exactly like I've given them a fair shake either. They might be good for all I know. Black Flag was great. I've heard people enjoyed Black Flag. Alright, so to investigate the resistance, we gotta come down here to the basement. Come over here to this obviously fake wall.
Open up.
I forget where it is, but I know I've found the key to that before. That brings you back here. That chest is trapped and empty.
What's that?
And then there is a fight with these wraiths and shadows. And there's a couple more on the sides too, I believe.
I'm ready.
Alright, so...
Ready and willing.
The annoying thing about the race is that they're immune, or not immune, but resistant to elemental damage, or like the main forms of it. So it's hard to hit them with a big AoE to start the fight, which is something I usually like to do. Sorry guys, dog's laying down. Dog came into the room to lay down next to me and push the green screen a little bit. All right.
Torment.
Yeah, so you got the ones up here and then the wraith there. Yes, of course. Patrick says, what's up, Morgan? Glad to catch the live stream. Never had the pleasure before, so it's quite a pleasant surprise. Glad you could make it. It is true that I rarely live stream. You, the engineer, says, hi. Do you think I'll get to the tower today without the CI approach to fight in it? I won't get to the end of it. If all goes well, I can still stream for a while. I'm hoping to get to the gauntlet area before we stop, which is basically the town and the tower explored, but not actually jumping into the bulk of the big dungeon here. Alright, Shadowheart. She should be able to just one-shot this thing.
Some punishment.
We'll hold off on using anything else. Always gotta check. Some undead are like completely immune to psychic damage in the game. And I always forget which ones it is. Alright, Gale can't do anything. Lagged out there for a second. Deja Vu says, hey, what's up? Love you. Appreciate it. Kind of you. J Ramble's Universe asked if I play MMOs. I stopped playing because of the mid-league stories and monetization. I used to play a lot of MMOs. I used to play World of Warcraft all the time. I played Guild Wars 2. I played Elder Scrolls Online. I played a bunch of them. These days, no, not really. I don't know. As I got older, I kind of just got tired of the endless grind involved in them. He's resistant to crop. Yeah. And that's kind of when I stopped, but I used to play them all the time, yeah. Have I played Star Wars The Old Republic? I have. I played Star Wars The Old Republic a ton. I played all of the character stories, I believe 8 of them completely through. I had the title that came with it. I think it was like Legendary or something. That was a lot of fun. I did a bunch of the in-game stuff, but probably around like 2015, 2016, I kind of just stepped away from MMOs. It just was eating up too much of my time. Will I sacrifice insert spoiler? Probably not, because Shadowheart is with us, and I'll probably just let her do her thing there, but there's honestly not a lot of reason to. Okay, so we got one more to kill, and I don't know where it is.
Finish this.
It's probably up here somewhere. Hellish Rebuke. Now that we know where it is.
Make way.
Unfortunately, Lae'zel doesn't do us much good there, but just so I can find it. Nope, moved up farther than that. That sucks. Oh, I hate these things.
Creator, destroyer.
I will ascend.
There we go.
Enough time wasted.
Alright, and now that that's done, we can read this log on the table, which finishes up the Investigate the Resistance's quest. But also there's some loot to be had.
This place is trapped.
Ugh. That sucks. Trap to the face.
Couple turns should do it.
All for that helm we don't even really need. Probably end up selling it, to be honest. Inventory's bugging out a little bit. It says I have 24 potions there, but the hotbar's got the correct number, I believe. Alright.
What to do?
And then there's a secret room over here with some treasure as well. Do I think there's going to be an expansion with an epilogue and all? I mean, they've said themselves they're not working on one. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I wouldn't really expect one, especially anytime soon. When I played the Dark Urge, did I embrace the urge or try to resist? Initially, I resisted, like, for the bulk of the playthrough, but what I wound up doing afterward is save scumming to see all the options and stuff. But for the most part, I would say resisted. And that's pretty much it for down here, and then we can keep on exploring the town proper, which we'll just teleport out to. Before I forget about it, restore Gale's spell slot, or at least his big one anyway.
Never a dull moment. No one's stopped me yet. At the ready.
Alright, so we've got this fight in the middle, a secret to do with that statue, and the House of Healing to do yet.
There is work to do.
These guys, and then I don't remember where they're at exactly, but there's some more wraiths over here as well, I believe.
All right. What now?
If you're far enough away, sometimes it takes them a second to notice you. Which is why we basically almost killed that guy. Jake says his Raphael a friend. Suppose you'll have to find out. Shay says, could you resist most and still get the achievement for doing the bad stuff for the Dark Urge? Yes. That comes down to a single decision towards the end that you can make. Have I ever found it difficult to give up a game that I don't enjoy due to money invested? I mean, not really. Like, at that point, I can just be like, I don't want to play this anymore, here's why, and that's, like, as valid an opinion as anything else, really. Which has happened a few times, but not often. Okay, so... that's it.
Step by step.
Alright, these guys are not super well grouped up. I think we're just gonna hang back for a second.
What should I do?
May the gods take you first.
Nice. Gondon says would love a video about Dark Urge at some points with spoilers and everything. A lot of people don't want to play it, but the story's crazy. I've thought about it. I've also thought about making a story or like a story discussion style of video, but it's so full of spoilers, and I'm a little concerned that people aren't quite ready for a video that's like full-on story spoilers just yet. Because I did a video on some of my favorite bosses recently, and it didn't do well comparatively, and a lot of people told me that the reason they weren't watching it specifically was because they didn't want to spoil themselves just yet. So, I mean, definitely not going to rule it out, but we shall see.
Wonder if the gods are watching me.
The amount of enemies I've killed with 1 HP with this run have been ridiculous. Alright, let's see if we can get... we're not going to be able to get close enough. But...
Right, better get to it.
oh, nice. Wish I would have seen that before I walked right by. Abujanti says classes ranked video went off, surprisingly so. That classes ranked video did crazy well. Hit the tending tab rather, like number 27 I think at one point. It was a lot.
Gone with the weave. On my honor. Step to it.
Like, I don't know what it is with this run and leaving enemies at 1 HP, but like it keeps happening.
That's curious.
It's ridiculous. Alright. There's that done. Alright, so there is a puzzle with this statue that you have to click these plaques in the right order.
That might be worth a look.
Which is just middle, right, left, if our memory serves. Which opens up the bottom here.
This place has been spared the shadow curse.
And then there are these statues around the room of Shar that we can interact with, where we have to pass some checks or fight an enemy.
Accept Shar's test of your intellect.
These will... It'll come down to luck, I think, to be honest. They don't have a ton of bonuses to these, and I'm out of inspiration. I think. No, I got one. It's wisdom, intellect, and charisma you have to pass here. But passing them gives you a huge bonus to them for the rest of the day, +5, which is a lot. Jay Rambles Universe asks, is it me or does Tactician not seem very hard? I haven't wiped yet. Tactician is a lot easier here than
wise enough
even
to
something
be
like Divinity
granted
Original Sin
Shah's
2.
blessing?
Nice.
One
One more. Which is the one I actually have bonuses to, so naturally watch this be the one I roll a nat 1 on.
Echoes in the corners of your mind. Your patron knows a thing or two about turning people.
Okay. Being a cleric really helped me out there. So that unlocks this room. If you pick up that dagger, you get attacked, and it's actually a pretty difficult fight. But if you just do this, you get some free rewards. That's pretty much all there is down there. We are so close to hitting level 8.
That took the edge off.
Heal up a little bit, and then we're going to head north a little bit, but we're going to do the House of Healing for sure. There's a fight on the beach I want to do. And then there's a quest involving Halcyon I'd like to get to as well. Arabella, if you saved her, is here.
Sorry.
Where she's learning some druidic magic.
That I think real hard and say some loud words and then it happens. Mostly. Still can't find him. Just till you find Mum.
She's looking for her parents, and you can invite her to your camp, which I would recommend you do. Sadly, her parents are not alive, though, which you'll discover just a short ways away in the House of Healing over here. Then we can loot the graveyard a bit. Come on. Not much we need in here, to be honest, but still stuff to sell if nothing else.
That's curious.
And before I walk too far up there, we need to switch to Astarion for a second.
All these dark justiciars slain in battle. They must...
Just what I need.
Shah's blessings upon you. If you're sure.
Because Astarion has a conversation here, and it's your last chance to have it before Act 2 is over, but it's not a huge deal if you miss it,
I'd
to be
shake
honest.
her hand, but she can...
While vultures encircle, preparing their rites.
Alright. Because Raphael is up here.
A new grave. I've grown quite fond. It would be pointless of me to try. Chances are many more graves than you. In truth, it is carnage incarnate.
Wait.
Now, Astarion wants information about the runes that are carved into his back. And Raphael is asking you to kill a specific enemy in that dungeon up there. But that's probably where we'll get to when we end for today.
Need something. Oh, darling, I'm hurt.
Shah's blessings upon you.
Gondon says they always make Shadowheart a rogue in their playthroughs. I mean, yeah, fair enough.
Alright.
It is interesting that they let you freely respec.
Dark Justicius, who fell long ago in service
Another
of
waypoint
Shah
up
and
here.
Catherick Thorn.
As well as another way into the House of Healing over there, but where we are headed is the beach.
What is this? This place makes me feel sad. Melancholy.
Joel says that was the first full party wipe they've had in the game, fighting the enemy Raphael just asked us to kill. I believe it. That fight can be a little tough. Alright, so we're about to be ambushed here, but it's a really funny fight. Trying to walk around to the side. There it is. More Kuatoa. Is it worth multi-classing Thief and Berserker for the Frenzied Attack bonus action? I haven't fully tested it yet, but that is likely something I'm going to try personally for a build, so I can't say for sure yet, but I'm hoping so. Alright, so there's a ton of these guys, but they're not super strong. And if you can line it up, you can get Gale to kill a ton of them with like a lightning bolt. Alright, though. So this is the chief here. Now, my only concern here is hitting myself with the lightning, because I'm a little too close.
Time to strike.
She got ensnared, because of course she did.
Can't give up. Not now.
First, I keep these guys distracted. We'll probably long rest after this. Mostly just waiting for Gale's turn here. What do I think the best Gish is? The Pact of the Blade Lockeden? That's probably one of my favorite ways to play it. Depends on what you're looking for when you say best, though, really. Alright, so this is a little bit over. There's level 8.
Pawn to cleric 4.
With a little more positioning, you can line it up where you can get like most of them in a big lightning bolt hit, which is really satisfying. Dan says, hey mate from Australia, happy to catch a live stream. Just wanted to ask what my opinion would be on a fun second playthrough. I did an evil playthrough with a Cleric of Tiamat myself. But I also think Dark Urge, if you haven't tried it yet, is also super fun. Their chieftain is just doing a whole lot of nothing.
Victory awaits.
Alright. Forgot to switch to her weapon. Is there a class that's good for Dark Urge or any? I mean, you can do it with any, but I would recommend either Paladin, which you've already said you've done, or Warlock, I think is a really fitting one.
Taste my fury. I'm ready. Let me strike true.
I got this wrapped up. You know, it's just as much down to party comp as anything else, but I will say this Jack of all trades build has been remarkably effective.
I am death.
Alright, we've got a couple left. Did not want to click on Shocking Grasp there, that was weird.
Concentrate. Time to strike.
That should be that. Nice.
These boots have seen everything. Here we go.
Alright, you don't get a ton for that one, but the fun fight nonetheless. Alright, grab the gold long rest, and then we will do our level ups. Before we go, check out the House of Healing, followed by Moonrise Towers. Long rest. Oh yeah,
What's
so
up for
Gale's
discussion?
thing.
Good evening.
And now we will level up. I don't know what build we're going to go for here. Or what class, I should say. I don't think it matters much at this point, to be honest with you. I'm tempted to go Sorcerer, though. I think Storm makes the most sense there, because then you can fly if you cast a spell, but that's mostly because these other ones don't really help us out much. But at this point, our build just kind of is what it is. Gary Golden said Warlock, but we've already got a level in that. Okay, so that added a bunch of spells to our bar, some of which we don't really need. Luckily, everybody else is level up, so they're a little more simple. Alright, for her level 8 feet, she's got strength, so at this point I usually like to pick up Savage Attacker because it will, when we make weapon attacks, which is pretty much all she does, effectively get advantage on the damage roll, where we'll roll it twice and take the higher result. That's just a flat damage increase.
Can't afford to stay idle.
Another cleric level for Shadowheart. She doesn't get much this round, just more spells, really. What subclass do I have on fighter? Lae'zel is a battle master.
Library.
Alright. We'll pick up Wall of Fire and... really all we need right now, to be honest with you, because we have pretty much everything else available through a scroll if we really need it. We've got Warcaster already, so we will round out his odd scores.
Still breathing, despite
all right, and that's everybody all leveled up. Give it a quick save. Leave camp and get back to it. Gary says, loved the Tempest Cleric build. It was a ton of fun. John Lamb says, love your stuff, Mortem. All the best. That's kind of you. I appreciate it. How do I build Halsin? I haven't really used him in the party very much. Like, he's only involved in a couple things, so I don't usually take him with me. But I would probably put that Druid build I put out today on him. Dan says, have I tested any Polearm Master 2-weapon fighting combos? Not yet, really. Haven't had the chance, honestly. Alright, so we're gonna pull back to the Grand Mausoleum. Hop down this way. Picklock that door. And then we'll head into the last sort of mini-boss area. Joshua Guepto says, how many runs are you at? I'm on my second. I just finished up my third one yesterday. Started the fourth one today, and then the one I'm working on right here for the stream, actually.
Don't give me trouble now.
Alright. Lock that door. Crit success. Then we can pick up a key, which will unlock the other doors. That one in particular. And then we can talk to the final mini-boss of the area. This guy has an achievement for fighting him and not letting him use a specific ability, which is pretty easy if you kill off his sisters first via dialogue, and then just start the combat with only him standing. Alright, so if we talk to him, we have the opportunity to pass some checks.
Let us cure you.
To get them to take each other out.
How to steady their hands, I wonder.
All of which we have tons of options for. This is why, oh, nat 1, of course. This is why we took all of those charisma bonuses.
Come.
Alright, and then they'll kill him, and that's the mini-boss dead. The Datsu says, thanks, Mort, love your videos. We'll make you a video about romance ranked. Probably not. Like, if it was closer to Valentine's Day or something where I could do it and kind of make it funny, I would probably try, but as it stands, I don't have much interest in making a video like that. Alright, so we need the loot for a quest. That's important. And then this amulet is really good. Because when we crit something, we can paralyze it for 2 turns, which is pretty handy. And paralyzed targets also take further criticals.
Reaction.
So we'll swap out hers for that one.
Oh, enough waiting. I crave blood.
And then before we leave the House of Healing, we will go over here and talk to the other nurse so we can find Arabella's parents. Which are right here.
His corpse. It's Arabella's father.
Not dead. Merely medicated. To ease the pain.
Surrendra says, when's your Shadow Gambit review coming out?
Yes.
Hopefully this weekend? I'm not sure.
Not much left now. But you're now.
Speaking of Shadow Gambit, the embargo technically lifted today, so I'm pretty sure I can tell people. I got a review copy for that game, but I haven't been able to finish it up completely because I've been so busy with Baldur's Gate 3. Oh. Alright. Okay, so there's a fight here, and there's a fight here that I always save for last, because it's actually pretty difficult before you're ready to leave. This fight isn't super important, it just leads to the mausoleum.
Lost in thought to new horizons.
Might as well do it for the XP before we go turn that loot in. If you take a little too long to actually hit them, they'll heal up. They didn't see me at first because it's dark. Hit them with the old sunbeam. Surrendra says got into CRPGs and TRPGs because of you and your channel, so thank you for the videos. That's kind of you. Always happy to hear stuff like that. I think pretty safe to say that the like one of the main goals of the channel is to make these games a little more accessible for people. So always nice to hear that it's working. Two in a row, left with 1 HP.
Sometimes the only way out is through.
That is getting painful. Oh, hit a hidden guy there.
Outflank.
Alright, Gale can't do anything because he started combat. Spirit Guardians, Radiant. Man, that one will not leave Gale alone. Dead.
Well, so much for peace.
How do I disadvantage? Oh, it's dark. I figured it would try to move out of Spirit Guardians there. Well, 2 HP that time. I guess it's a little different. Walk up to it, I should die.
All's well that ends. Not as bad as it could have.
What's the build for my face character? This monstrosity. Mostly we just pumped charisma and proficiencies and talking skills, persuasion, that kind of thing. That way we'd get the big bonus, and then we got favorable beginnings from the illithid powers to sort of max out our attempts to use those. Xiaofang says that I have to roll back our saves because of hotfix 4. They fixed it. Honestly, I think I probably never downloaded it because I was busy when it actually dropped, and then they rolled it back pretty quickly. So I think I was already safe, so to speak. All right, over here leads to a harder fight. We don't want to walk over there just yet. Eugene K says, does it actually have to be the main character, or does cheesing a hireling work? Technically, cheesing a hireling should work, and I think not leveling up a companion and waiting until you're level 12 also works. But where is the fun in that? All right, give it a short rest. Have Gale recover his spell slot. All right, and that leaves us with that dungeon and Moonrise Towers. But before we do that, we're gonna take that loot back to Last Light, where we can turn it in for a quest I forgot to pick up while we were here earlier.
Jahira won't even notice we're gone.
Even if she did, it doesn't matter. Mole needs us. I know, but we need a plan.
This is no physical ailment.
So he is
Do you know him? Please.
Flaming Fist member that got hurt, and then that loot we picked up off the surgeon is his, and if you play it for him, he'll wake up out of his coma, more or less, and ask you to go get Halsin. If you went the evil route and don't have Halsin, that just kind of ends right there. There's nothing you can do about it. But if you went the good route and Halsin is with you, you can bring Halsin to him, which leads you to a chance to cure the Shadow Curse. Cold Sun says, love your videos, Mort, reviews and all. Thanks for what you do. I appreciate it. Dan says, what do I think of the resting system? Does it feel a bit cheesy how easy it is? So, I mean, that's a system where nobody's ever going to be completely happy with it. I think they did fine with it. There's places you can't rest where it makes sense. But beyond that, it's a video game. So, I mean, no matter what you do there, it's going to happen. Okay, so tell Halsin to meet us over there.
Yeah.
And then he'll just walk into the room and talk to the guy.
Maybe we should ask someone else.
Who?
I'm not sure
And then Halsin will tell us to meet him by the lakeshore over here, where he can perform a ritual to hopefully cure the Shadow Curse, or at least attempt to. Is BG3's story like Remnant 2, where there's RNG and you get different stories? No, that's not. It's not like that at all. It's choice based, so you'll make choices and get different outcomes based on the choices you made. But it is very much so not procedural in any way. Alright, so
lovely day this. For now.
This fight coming up can be pretty difficult, but I think we've more than got the spells for it at this point.
This will be done.
So I think we'll likely be okay.
Stayed interesting. I've got a long road ahead. Best be on my way.
I'm ready.
We
Whatever
are
it
going to
takes.
split the party a tiny bit and throw
Got to keep moving.
Shadowheart kind of over here.
Oh, I have the magic touch.
Assume nothing.
Seek and you shall find me.
And then we'll get this show on the road. We'll give it a quick save first, though. What level are we at now? We are at level 8.
Thaniel is trapped in the... No.
Hallison's basically going to go into the Shadowfell, rescue a spirit of nature that is part of the curse here.
So his mind and body are up to the challenges that await in that fabled place.
And all we have to do is hold out for a few turns, which winds up being a little more difficult than you might initially think.
I won't give in.
Would I recommend taking physical classes first and saving magical classes for last? Kind of. You want the proficiencies from the martial classes first thing in this run, in my opinion. And the magical classes don't get as much because we're just not putting enough levels in them to get much. Key entity Kane says Hunger of Hadar carried this morning. Yeah, it definitely can. My druid version, like my druid run of this, was actually super easy because they got spike growth and all of these little enemies will just murder themselves on it. But basically anything crowd controls what you want to do. We'll wait on the action surge. Wall of fire. Nice. So, the nice thing about this is that they don't really stop to fight at all.
Have to keep going.
They mostly just try to get to the portal, which is what they're trying to kill.
Survival is all that matters.
Swift and lethal. In my best interest.
Another fight. Let's go.
Only a couple of the shadows really try to fight you here. Pretty much everything else just kind of runs for it. Most of those guys will just kill themselves. The dogs, on the other hand, I don't think I'll deal enough damage to them with just the firewall. Nice. Ran right through Shadowheart's thing and then hit the firewall. Syringer says, didn't know you streamed, though I was an avid follower of your channel for almost 6-7 months now. I don't stream a ton by any means. Really just special occasions. I'm a little too busy to do it like constantly. Alright. We'll hit the range guy.
Comes easy these days.
Swift and lethal.
No choice but to keep going.
haven't even hit the portal yet, so, I mean, realistically, even if every single one of them did right now, they still wouldn't have enough damage. Most of them are going to kill themselves in the portal anyway. Or the firewall, rather. Lol Talk says, well, wait, you can throw stuff like that? Indeed you can. Picking enemies off at this point. Now we'll try to kill as many of them as we can for the XP, but it's pretty much
Taking position.
They all despawn after this fight ends. Like the timer runs down, but the more you kill, the more XP you'll get. And I think we're gonna just about kill all but one of them.
Never a dull moment.
Time to strike.
Nice. Ta-da!
But no.
Okay.
Come.
Alright, so we're not done yet, though. There's a whole lot of enemies. Hey, none of them drop anything good. Is Divine Smite on Shadowheart proccing and not using a spell slot? No, it's using a spell slot.
Get on with it.
It's just happening automatically because the reactions are set up for it to happen automatically on a crit. So, because I don't have a ask checked, it just does it. So if it critically hits, it just automatically does it because I'm always going to want to add damage to that.
I applaud your taste.
So we'll drop
Let's get going.
Wall of Fire and group everybody back up.
Time to rest. Can't slow down.
And just that fight can give you a ton of XP, so we're already halfway to level 9.
Anything of use?
Joshua says, when you do so many playthroughs, how do you even decide what content to do, not do so much in this game? I mean, years of experience. I usually kind of know the kind of things people are looking for, so it's a little easier. But mostly you just kind of learn what people want to watch and what they don't. That helps out a lot. Okay, so...
excellent choice.
A long way to go still.
Running low on our best spell slots, which kind of sucks, but we're still doing okay. Now we've got to go... talk to Halsin first.
Swift as my feet can carry me.
And then we can go do the other part of this, which is also a relatively simple fight. Cadon says, missed most of the stream. Guess you're deep in Act 2 at this point. When will you reach the main city of the game? Yeah, we're pretty far into Act 2. We don't have, I mean, we still have a lot left, but it's I would say it's more than halfway over.
Part of him. But after all these, it's
so
only
Halsin tells us
if you
that we need to find
I'm
Thaniel's
yours.
other half.
Against the
That
curse,
option is
against
still
the
bugged.
absolute, I'll be...
And this is where he can actually start joining your party as a companion if you want. But Now we can go back to where we fought that Shadow Kid earlier. For round 2. How did it still not? Hold on, it didn't update for some reason.
Nathaniel still suffers. Perhaps not.
There we go.
If there is a ruin, perhaps it can be.
Alright, now he should be showing back up. Yeah, there he is. Alright, we'll save before this fight.
No.
Well, we have to enter a portion of the Shadowfell. Fight the same 2 enemies as before. But also we gotta break his little dome shield there. But attacking these shades will reduce its health for us.
Can't even catch my breath.
Fast. You should have just left me alone. Spoil my fun. I'll teach you a lesson. Just you watch.
I will not know failure.
Although that does require me to be able to hit something. As you can see, it does damage as we kill them. There will be a lot more little shades here soon, but these 2 are the big ones.
Down with you.
Have to keep going.
What do I have disadvantage for? It's dark. It shouldn't be dark. Got holy light standing right next to the thing.
I'll make my own fun if I have to. And my own friends.
Josh says first couple levels can be kind of tough. Yeah, especially on Tactician. I mean, once you get a few levels under you though and start getting your powers sorted out, it's gets pretty easy. Alright, so these guys only have 1 health each. Which means... Oh, there it goes.
Stop that!
And that'll deal a bunch of damage to the
Not breaking things.
shell.
Spoiling my fun. Stop it right now.
And now we can attack the dome directly and kill the shade.
Sometimes the only way out is through.
This is your end.
One can't always be a gentleman.
We're gonna
Why
miss
are you
one of them,
doing
but that's
this?
not a big deal.
All I wanted to do was play.
Life comes easy these days.
It summons 5 every turn, so you do kind of need to be a little quick here. Which shouldn't be a big deal, but if you let it go on too long, you can get overwhelmed.
You can't make me. Even when it was
Then we convince
scary,
him to
even
go
when I
back
was
here.
Would he even want me back? But
And then there is that sorted out. And now we just speak to Halsin one more time, and that is Dunsies.
Time to press ahead.
And doing this, once we complete Act 2, will result in the Shadow Curse being lifted.
Nathaniel rests well. Well, still. Anyway, and I'm glad to be had.
Alright, and that Leaves us with talking to Arabella over here, who joined our camp. Who sadly we have to inform
Hey,
her
you found
parents
Mum
have
and
passed
Pops?
away.
No, I don't believe you. Get.
And then we'll talk to her again a little bit later, which leads to a pretty decent outcome for her, all things considered. Alright, and that leaves us with heading towards the actual tower. First, long rest. Yeah, cool. Alright, so good amount of stuff to do in the tower itself. But you can pretty easily convince them that you're one of them. Until you discover
far
what
enough.
the weakness is for Ketheric
One less
Thorn.
like myself.
You'll find Z'rell in the audience.
Praise.
Not to diminish our efforts, but a simple guess.
There can be no doubt. This is the place. This
So
is
the
where
central
we'll
room is
discover
where we
the
need to
true
go, but we
source
can
of
kind of
absolute
The disciple
poke
want to
around and
see
explore a little bit.
through
There's a
the main
vendor right
doors.
here.
If you have coin, then show it.
Don't think he has anything better than what we've got for the moment, though. That's a pretty good halberd. But because we're using Lae'zel, that Soulbreaker Greatsword is still better, in my opinion. Means I don't think we really need anything from this guy, to be honest. But we can sell a couple things while we're here.
Get moved.
I was a farrier in Desarin Valley. And the dreams came.
Dan says, love that halberd. Yeah, that halberd is very good. If you are playing a Githyanki, I think the Soulbreaker Greatsword, because the extra psychic damage you get from being a Githyanki from that sword, I think makes it a little bit better. But otherwise, it is still very good, yeah. Kind of exploring around. This cat right here, Steelclaw, has some hilarious interactions if you're playing the Dark Urge, which is kind of funny. But mostly just clearing out the map here. Alright, this lady is mind-controlling gnolls.
Now, that is the gift the app. What would you like him to do? No, Barnabas!
But not doing it the best she could possibly do, which means she has to kill that one. And here is a bunch of free supplies. At least some pretty good ones, anyway.
Well, in it. Wonder if the gods are watching.
We got another interesting vendor over here who really wants to talk to Astarion in particular.
I have with
But if you give her a drop of your blood,
No.
Among the many crimes tallied against.
So let me adjust my offer. We can learn exactly what. So it. Truth. I know.
and she'll give you a
I have
special potion, and then she also wants to talk to Astarion as well.
Welcome back, true soul. You've come in the spirit of trade.
Alright, and she sells some interesting stuff. Nothing we desperately need by any means. That one's actually pretty good, especially in some certain fights.
Come back anytime.
But for now, we'll head into the central room before rescuing everyone.
I did. You failed to retrieve the artifact. You. Enough.
Right, so they're real mad with the
True
goblins
soul,
from
tell the
Act
general
1
how
not
the
doing what
goblins
they sent them
served
to
our
do.
cause.
You also get to see firsthand the fact
general.
that
The
Ketheric
goblins are
Thorm
yours.
is mostly
Deal with them
immune
however
to
you
damage.
wish.
And you can do whatever it is here.
do anything drastic, are ya?
You're merciful.
Easiest just to release them, though, to be
Absolute
honest.
Power, occupied by a general that cannot be killed. But his followers are flesh and blood.
And then we can head
We
up and
must
talk
learn
to
what fuels his
Zorel, which will
power.
give us the next task, which is going to explore the dungeon we saw earlier. But we're going to rescue everyone from the prison before we do that.
I itch to draw my. General Thorm's prayers.
Even you decide.
Excellent. The goblins. No.
Her mind.
Explain yourself.
So regardless of what you do to the goblins, you can kind of talk your way out of it if you can pass the check.
Every emotion soaks into her mind's palate. But there is purpose.
She gave me everything I. And
That's it. Play along. The closer you can get to the general, the closer you'll be.
But we have lost contact with.
Okay. And she sends us after a relic important to Ketheric, while also allowing us to explore the room over here, which will give you a moon lantern if you don't have one. Key entity says they missed the prison the first time and ended up going back to a previous save to get it like 4 hours later. That's rough. Alright. So, this is where you'd grab protection from the curse if you went the evil route and came to Moonrise first. But we can solve a small puzzle here by putting a human heart in this altar. Which can get you some more loot back here.
And I can crack that open.
Such as this hat. Again, not much that we really need, but still. And then you can also get an improved version of the moon lantern there with Gale.
But they were already imbued with Netherese magic. So where did that magic come from?
And then from there we can head down to the prison and get to rescuing. Nice. Okay, so the prison is down here, and then we can get a few really good things in the prison. Specifically, we want to go out of our way to kill the warden down here for an item she has.
Be kinder, to the prisoners, I mean. Any one of them could be elevated to true soul.
So I've found that the easiest way to do this, which is to say rescue the tieflings and also the gnomes at the same time, is to just kill these guards stealthily, or as stealthily as you can anyway. Which is easier than you would think. Get the game to cooperate.
Torment.
I will ascend.
Still breathing, despite everything. Time to push my luck.
Can't give up. I am fury. I am death.
We'll let him come to us. Because no real reason not to. Alright, Gale can magic missile that. Last eye.
Never a dull moment.
And then
Can't slow down.
pretty easy to just knock those guys in there and be done with it.
Roland better be alright.
It's Roland. He's probably holed up somewhere, planning to burst in, spells ablaze, and rescue us.
I bloody hope not. If he saves us, I'll never hear the end of it.
And that pretty much does it for the guards. There is one more over here, but you don't really need to bother with him much. Now, all we've really got to do is scale this wall, and then we can pretty easily break the prisoners out. So we got a few low strength guys here, so we gotta get a little creative.
Without delay.
Sometimes it is very finicky about you jumping on top of things. It just does not want you to do it. Really inconsistent in that manner, but Lae'zel isn't going to have an issue. The problem is
always sharp.
Gale and my guy, who don't have a lot of strength.
I've got a long road ahead.
Yeah, see, it's too high. We do have some potions, though.
Light on my feet.
Let me work my
Don't
magic.
love burning them for this, but easy is easy, frankly.
At least things have stayed.
And we can run back here
with haste
and break the walls to the backs of the prison to let the inmates out. People pointing out in the chat, you can hit shift to climb things. But either way. Alright, and then now we've just got to get these walls down.
Around, so it might as well.
However, yeah, bludgeoning or force damage is options for the most part, and I don't think I have a maul. I don't know if Shadowheart can do enough damage in a single hit, to be honest. Yeah, she got just enough. Otherwise, we would have used Gale's magic missiles. And then we can run around and grab the other one to let the Iron Hand gnomes out. If you talk to them and get them a hammer, they can also break themselves out. But it's pretty easy to just walk back here and do it yourself.
make it to Baldur's Gate. I must. Boat's good. My plan for now is to hide out on the water.
All right, then we can tell them to head to the inn. We can then turn back around and get everything else done. Plus, once we do this, we can go talk to everybody in town there to get a nice XP buff, which we will do later, or just more XP specifically, not like literally an XP buff. Joel says, I always kill the warden. That is what we are going to do next, because for those who are unaware, the warden in the central tower over here drops an incredible amulet that will restore any level of spell slot once per day, which is very good. Alright, so the warden here.
Enough waiting. I crave blood.
You were witnessed assaulting someone.
Is now paralyzed and thus already died.
Talk to me.
And now we can loot the Spellcrux amulet, which is, again, just crazy good. Abu Janti says everything about covering things like audio and voice acting to your reviews. Not really. I've talked about this before, but I have a little bit of hearing loss from my time in the army. Like, nothing significant, but it can be hard for me to talk about things like music and feel like I know what I'm talking about. I get a little self-conscious about it, so I try to avoid it. Alright, so... Yeah, somebody asked in chat how we just did that. She is in fact multi-classed with a little bit of Paladin for Divine Smite. A couple people asked in the chat there. So Shadowheart did 18 regular, 49 bludgeoning for about 70 damage or so, and that's after Lae'zel paralyzed her, so it was a guaranteed critical. Okay, but now Gale can throw on that amulet, which means we can Arcane Recovery and use the amulet to recover one of any spell slot, which is crazy good. Now we are going to go back to Last Light to talk to the people we just saved to collect some rewards.
Moving ahead.
And with the true soul, we will land for final blow.
I won't even notice we're gone.
Oh,
Even if she did,
thank
it
the
doesn't
gods.
matter.
So we can talk to Wolverine.
I know,
Patrols
but
report more
we
activity.
need a plan.
Oh, now. Was there something else?
But even Braun does it. You should look for me once we're in the city. That's Iron Hand gnome business. But our forebears were our
and then he has some more stuff for us in Act 3 now that he's been saved. And then now we can talk to all of the...
How did you do it?
tieflings we just saved, which gives us a ton of rewards.
Why don't we ask Jahira? Yeah.
But in order to get it to clear out of
She
your
did a
quest log, you
great
do
job
actually have to talk to
protecting Mars.
all of the groups of them that you saved.
Roland. No, thank you.
You.
No one cares. No one but us.
They've gathered an entire...
And last but not least, it actually, like, when I first did this, it took me a little while to find the last group of tieflings, but they're usually over here near the water.
Bex!
My gods! Dennis!
Oh, you're all right.
Seems like a good moment to talk.
You're all right.
Me too. But we're here now.
This isn't the first time you've helped us. So
Alright,
Shall
that
we go for a walk?
clears that out of our quest log.
Anywhere, my love.
And leaves us with
I go where you go.
a ton of loot. Also, a pretty great robe if you are a charisma caster. So if you're like a sorcerer or you're doing like a spell-focused warlock, your cantrips will just be getting your charisma modifier. More for a sorcerer, like a warlock's already going to get charisma to Eldritch Blast, which is likely what you'd use anyway, but a pretty cool robe for like a sorc. That, though, pretty much leaves us with just doing the final dungeon area, which I think is a great place to leave it for today because it's getting a little bit late and I've still got another video to make. But that should pretty much knock out most of Act 2. So I will be streaming tomorrow. Tomorrow it will be pretty much the Gauntlet of Shar and then the last sort of climax to Act 2, which will get us into Act 3. So we'll almost certainly be in the actual city tomorrow. And we'll probably hit level 9 before we even get there. So I hope you enjoyed the stream today. And, I mean, realistically, we'll probably have this run wrapped up this week as I'll be able to stream the next few days in a row. So I'm hoping to get this done pretty quick, as this is the last achievement I need at this point. But so far, it's been going surprisingly well, and I appreciate everybody stopping by to watch. So that's going to do it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing night. See you, everybody.